Amen. Amen. Um, wow. So yesterday we were talking under theme yokuthi why are we so forgetful? Um, and Brother Sizwe hit us with hardcore quotations from the Bible. We received a lot of feedback from you. We really thank God for the positive feedbacks that we have received. uJehova ngathi anganibusisa futhi ngathi angasiza ukuthi sifunde okuningi futhi and okukhulu. This today's topic is the impact of social media on our brains. And Brother Caesar is going to run through the lessons that today. And I hope we did the homeworks that he gave us. He gave us 3 homeworks. He's going to remind us what homeworks he gave us. And we'll hopefully be able to give feedback to him. What I have learned, especially yesterday, with the message we got is that God is not happy when we are just okay with ourselves. Ne? When it's okay, I mean mediocre. Ne? There has to be a standard that is reached, and God expects us to reach that standard. I would like just to read a quotation from the book Mind, Personality, and Mind, Character, and Personality. It is in chapter 1. It is the very last chapter of that book, of that chapter. So it's the last paragraph, I mean, of that chapter. And it says, we may attain almost the excellence of angels. The Lord has given men capacity for continual improvement and has granted him all possible aid in the work. Through the provisions of divine grace, we may attain almost to the excellence of angels. And this paragraph really reminded me of a Bible verse. We actually know the Bible verse as a song that is sang by a cappella. And it says, his divine power has given us everything that we need for life and for godliness. His divine power has given us everything that we need for life and for godliness. I just pray that by the end of the week, we will at least plant, or God will plant a seed. May you be blessed with today's presentation. I will be giving over to you, Brother Sizwe, and to our audience, please enjoy. God bless you.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, number one. Let me take this opportunity to greet everyone in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. I would like to say to the church, I say, OWITS, I'm actually blessed. For the first time when I'm doing a presentation to a church and be equally excited, I have received a lot of feedback from you guys. I highly appreciate that. This all was the first day. I'm not only appreciating the feedback I'm getting from you guys, I'm also appreciating your prayers. The whole of last week was a terrible week. The weekend was even worse. We did not have electricity for almost the weekend, yonke. But when we started this week of prayer, by God's grace, we still have electricity. So I know for sure that the church is praying for us and God is answering your prayers, because someone from OWITS needs these messages, and someone, even if it's one, that can be changed. The Bible says that we need to be transformed. So God is concerned about that one individual that needs to be transformed. as a result. So I gave you my homework. I also got feedback regarding those homeworks. I gave you this thing that you need to try and practice. I don't know if you can see me. The finger thing. A lot of feedback in Itolile was this thing is impossible. But I want to put it on record that this thing is not impossible. It's difficult, but it's only difficult at first. So anything is normally difficult only in the beginning. So the more you persist, I believe also that if you can do it now, it will be better than you did yesterday. So just continue doing it. It's this time. So just to break the task and make it easier, start with one hand and you do this with one hand so that you can develop that muscle memory. And then when you are fluent with one hand, try to do it with your non-dominant hand, which would be your left, most of us. And then you try to incorporate both hands and try the exercise. It will do wonders for you. So the reason why it's difficult is because most of us are dominant on one side of the brain. So when you are using your right hand to write, it means that you are using your left hemisphere mostly. So you are dominantly using your left hemisphere. And when you are writing with your left, you are using your right hemisphere. So God has given us these two parts of our brains with the thinking and intention that we should be able to use both sides of the brain. So this exercise is trying to bridge that gap. One person that I know was able to use both sides is Einstein. No, Einstein was ambidextrous. Ambidextrous means that he was skilled in using both hands, the left and the right. So if we can get to that level of using both hands, you would see how it will also translate on how you use your brain. Another problem that we are developing, especially Usisi, she asked yesterday, Guti, she has a problem of forgetting words, the tip of the tongue thing. So when you develop both sides of your hemisphere, you would see that problem will automatically disappear because both your hemisphere will work in synchronicity. Both your creative side and the logical side will be working together. So hopefully by this week, we'll be able to attain a glimpse of intelligence by God's grace. So today's exercise, I also gave you an exercise of remembering your dream. I don't know how many of you were able to remember your dreams in the morning. I got a feedback. Others were telling me, the other lady was saying that she remembered at least 4 of her dreams. That's very impressive. So a lot of us maybe might be battling because we are not used to using our brains in that sense. But I want to emphasize how important it is that we remember our dreams. A lot can be achieved if people can remember what they were dreaming about. It will be a shame to sleep 8 hours and you don't even remember a single dream. So if we can try to do that, today we'll just do a quick exercise, a simpler one than the one that we did yesterday. So today's one, we'll be using both hands as well. It's easy. You just give me your right hand, and with your right hand, you give me a 3, like this. And with your left hand, you give me a 2, like this. So when I say switch, you give me a 3 this side, and you give me a 2 this side. It's easy peasy. I know you know how to count. It's easy. Let's do it. So it's 3 and 2s. I call it 3s and 2s. I don't know how I came up with that thing, but it's 3s and 2s. So when I say switch, you switch. Are we ready? Let's try it. So it's 3s and 2s. So let's switch and see. 3s and 2s. Yes, Nelly? And then switch. Switch. No, Nelly, come on now. Switch. This thing is easy, man. Switch. Switch. Okay, let's break it down. 3, 2. Use your one hand, one hand, one hand, one hand. So 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. Easy peasy. Let's use the other non-dominant hand. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Now the easiest of them all. We are using both hands. 3, 2, 3, switch, 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 faster, faster, maybe faster, you'll be able to do it. Okay, here's the trick. What I want you to do as your homework tomorrow, I want you to start using your non-dominant hand. So if you normally write with your right hand, start using your left from tomorrow. So what you are doing is you are touching the part of your brain that you don't normally use. So the more you do it, at first it will be difficult. Do not be frustrated. I know your human mind says you need to be perfect. You can't be perfect on something that you do not know as yet. So I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for progress. So that's the goal. So from tomorrow, start using your non-dominant hand. In fact, from tonight, if you go and eat your supper, start eating using your left hand. It will be difficult. You'll be, splitting food or spilling food everywhere, but the more you do it, the better you will get. Start using your non-dominant hand. You will be better when time progresses. Please do that as your homework. From now on, notice which hand you are using. When you're brushing your teeth, use your non-dominant hand, which will be your left if you write with this hand, your other hand that you don't normally use. The more you do it, your brain will appreciate you more. So because today I have a lot of information to cover, I'll be speeding through information, hopefully without leaving anything behind. I want to just check the audience that I'm dealing with, if you also have these problems as well, the problems that I normally have. So I want you to just indicate on the chat. I will ask you a few questions and then you will tell me yes or no, or you will just indicate. I will just give you instruction as per questions that I'll be asking. The first question is, how many times, or first of all, the first question is, are you addicted to your smartphone? Do you think you're addicted to your smartphone? Yes or no, or you are not sure? Just indicate to me on the chat. The question is, are you addicted to your smart device or to your phone? The answers that I'm looking for, it's yes, no, or I'm not sure. Are you addicted to your smartphone or not? So I'm getting a plethora, in fact, a lot of information. I love it. Not sure, yes, no, addicted. Ntombi, it's good when you exactly now and daily, yes. So all of you are addicted. You have serious issues. However, I was told that if you admit that you have an addiction, it's easy to be cured or to be helped. Thank you for your honesty. So let's see. It was stipulated and stated that an average person touches their own phone 2,617 times per day. So it was scary for me to get those numbers, that a lot of us touch our phones a lot, as many times as 2,617 times per day. I wish we could touch our loved ones as many times as possible. So this researcher was saying that if you can touch our spouses so many times, there will be less and less divorces in our churches or in our country. So there was another guy by the name of Mr. Livstrom, I believe, from April. He was one of the people that were responsible for the designing of the iPhone. He's saying that when they were designing the iPhone, they designed it such that a person should fall in love with their iPhone. Listen to the wording that I'm using. The wording that he's using, he's saying that they designed the phone such that a human being would fall in love with their iPhone. You are falling in love with your iPhone as if you are falling in love with a person. That's why when your phone is about to die, you become so stressed that you can't live without your phone. So a lot of things are happening with these smartphones. Here's the second question. Have you experienced an accident as a result of your smartphone? What I mean is, I was so addicted to my phone that when I was walking in the morning, when I was exercising, I walked into a pole and I got injured because I was not concentrating. I was concentrating on my phone. So the question is, Have you actually had a similar experience or had an accident as a result of looking at your phone and not concentrating on where you are going? There is a pandemic that is growing. So that's the question. Have you actually experienced such an accident, or am I'm the only one? You are fortunate. When you go to YouTube or you go to Google and you just Google accidents related to cell phone usage, you will be shocked. They are even saying that it's another new pandemic that people are experiencing, where people are no longer focusing on the road or on the things that are next to them, but they are focusing on their smartphones. The next question is, do you think your smartphone is making you dumb? Yes or no? The question is, do you think your smartphone is making you dumb? I'll wait for your responses. No. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately. Yes. Yes. How hello? Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Let me maybe let me explain it like this. How many of you, when you are doing simple calculations, are you using your smartphone to do a quick calculation? There was a time where we used to do a simple arithmetic with our heads. But now, because of our smartphones, we no longer do that. We are just, outsourcing that service to our smartphones. That's what I mean. That, do you think your smartphone is making you dumb, or it's actually making you smarter? I like what Kubegile is saying. She's saying that she's actually smarter, maybe as a result of his smartphone. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed those that are on social media? How many people are unable to spell things correctly? How's your spelling? How's your grammar? How's your grammar? I know a lot of people, when I look at certain posts, I normally laugh, and I cringe, man. I cringe. The reason why our grammar is so horrible is because of our smartphones. So when you type a grammatical error, your cell phone will notify you that this spelling is wrong or this, and then you autocorrect. So as a result of your smartphones, you can't spell anymore. You can't even use proper grammar as a result of this thing. So your cell phone is actually making you dumb as a result. So if your spelling is not so correct, we need to change that as well. And then the last question that I would ask is this: what time do you normally go to bed every night? The follow-up question is, so you're going to answer 3 questions. The first question is, what time do you go to bed every night? And then the second one is, what's the last thing you do before going to bed? And the third one would be, and the first thing that you do upon waking up. So the question is, what time do you go to bed every night? What's the last thing you do before going to bed? And the first thing that you do when you wake up. Okay, Tula, you're saying 11:30. After midnight, Kubi. 9:30, Ntombi, that's beautiful. 11 o'clock, Kelvin. Half 11, just before midnight. Okay. Okay, I see 10 o'clock. And what's the last thing that you do before going to bed? I check my phone, Caleb, yes, before I sleep. I normally do that as well. I used to do it, in fact. Or you binge YouTube before sleep, Jerry. Around 9, Zodwa, silent prayer, nice. Prayer morning and read my Bible, that's nice. The reason why I'm asking that last question is a lot of us cannot sleep anymore. The reason is, if checking your phone is the last thing that you do, there is what we call blue light emission. So when your eyes look at that blue light emission, it chases away your sleep. That's why you cannot sleep. So it's always advised that 2 hours before going to bed, switch off your cell phone and put it away, because it's affecting your sleeping patterns. So it's a terrible habit to have, to look at your phone before going to bed. It's a terrible thing. So another thing that I've noticed is, When you look at your phone, if your last act for the day was to look at your phone, that thing creates an addiction to your cell phone. So the last act that you do before going to bed, you are more likely to wake up with the same thinking. So I would strongly advise that stay away from your cell phone before going to bed. You will appreciate that simple habit. It's a simple habit, but it's very difficult to break. So let's go into our presentation for the day. The impact of social media on the brain. Those that know me, I will just narrate my short story. Those that know me, you know how addicted I was to social media. I used to be with social media for 9 hours a day. And I'm just roughly estimating, but I'm sure it was more than that, because I was touching my phone every minute to check the notifications. I was forever on Facebook posting nonsense, and people loved me for the nonsense. I enjoyed Facebook wholeheartedly. I've never been loved by people the way I was loved on Facebook. In all 9 provinces, I have never been in other provinces. But whenever I go with my group to sing in any province, I'll be well recognized. And people were asking me, dude, why are you so well known? Are you a celebrity or something? No, the thing that made me famous was the Facebook. So I loved the attention I got. And as a result of Facebook, I would get speaking gigs, paying gigs. People would see me on Facebook and they would invite me. I would go to weddings. I've never been in the plane. But as a result of being on Facebook, I got an invitation to go to another province using a plane, and they paid for me. I stayed in a hotel. It was a nice experience for me. So I've gotten gigs as a result of this. So for me, it was not that easy. And I even got my inboxes from ladies. You know, it's so nice to be loved by ladies. And the only problem that I had was they love me for the nonsense that I speak. There's nothing of value I was adding except to make them laugh. So that thing made me addicted to Facebook. Until one day I'm on Facebook, and then I go to bed. It was about past 12 or so. And I'm reading something, man. There's a guy by the name of Sean Parker. He's one of the co-founders of Facebook. He posts something. He's actually saying this thing. And this is what he says. Let me quote him. He says, God only knows what it's doing to our children, referring to Facebook. He continues to say, the thought process, sorry. Sorry for that. Let me continue. It says, Sean Parker says, God only knows what it's doing to our children's brain, what Facebook is doing to our children's brain. He continues to say, the thought process that went into building these applications, Facebook being the first one of them, was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. And then he continues to say, and that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while, because someone liked or commented on your photo or post or whatever. And that's okay. Let me just summarize it. So he's basically saying that there is what we call attention engineers. That's the name that you need to Google, attention engineers. So what they do is this. They are the people that are responsible for slot machines in a casino. So what they do is, with casino, when you put in your chip or your token, and then you pull that lever, and then you wait to win, and you wait in anticipation to see if you have won or not. When you have won, your dopamine will be, activated, and you'll be excited. So these guys, attention seekers, Sean Parker being one of them, he says that they would do that in the psychology when they were creating this thing. They know that you would thrive and you would love the dopamine feel, the feel-good hormone that you will get. The more you scroll and the more you get the likes, you'll be, motivated and be excited. But one guy, so that was Sean Parker, the co-founder of Facebook. The other guy is Justin Rosenstein. He's the guy responsible for the like button. So the button that you see, that you normally comment or react with, the like button. He's the guy that was engineering that. His name is Justin Rosenstein. So when I read that, what he said, so this is what he says. He's saying that he's going to deactivate his Facebook account. When asked, why are you deactivating your Facebook account? This is what he says. I fear the addiction that comes with the like button. To date, if you can go to Facebook and check his account, he's nowhere to be found because he has deactivated his account. When I read that with Norman, I can't be addicted, yet the owners of this thing are not even in that thing. So they created this thing, social media, Facebook in particular, so that they can get you hooked on it. The more time, also this sinister plots that they have, so that they can get as much time, your time and your conscious attention as possible. When I read that, it disturbed me, I don't want to lie. And I also read something about who's this guy? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, when he was interviewed years ago, just before the highly anticipated release of the iPad. A journalist asked to Steve Jobs, this is what he asked. So your kids must love this iPad, hey? And then a journalist was assuming that, of course, his children will be, in the forefront of the iPods and the iPads and the iPhones and all. And Steve Jobs was saying that, well, not exactly. Steve Jobs explained in the interview that his children had never used an iPad, not even once. When I read that Steve Jobs' kids are not using the iPhones that we are so crazy for, then I saw with Norman, there's a sinister plot here. These people are giving these things to us, yet they are not using them. Bill Gates had a statement and I read a statement that is saying that he only permits his kids 45 minutes of internet for educational purposes only. And then Tim Cook, who is also a CEO, current CEO at Apple, he says he doesn't even allow his nephew to be on social media. And then when they went to a Silicon Valley, that's where all these tech gurus are combining their minds and thinking together. They are saying that all of them, they do not allow their kids to go to high-tech schools with tablets and those big screens and whatsoever. They are saying that they would rather homeschool their kids, or they would rather take their kids to nature-based schools where there is no social media or technical things or any technologies in the school. So when I read those things, I said, no, man, Lord, just give me strength. It was very difficult for me to quit social media. I don't want to lie, because I was addicted and I was hooked and I was making money as a result. But when I read the people that are responsible for these social media things are not even using them, I said to myself, no more, nyala and easy. That was the end of it for me. To date, I still get calls, I still get SMSs, people asking me, when are you coming back? As long as they steal that button, that blue button, you're like, and easy and boy, I'm not gonna do that thing. And then I also discovered that there are 4 enemies that you need to watch out for with social media. These 4 enemies is digital delusion, digital distraction, digital dementia, and digital deduction. So I will just break them down so that you can understand them. So number 1 is digital delusion. Digital deluge means the volume of data generated in the social media space. Have you noticed how much information you get a second when you are on Facebook, when you are on Twitter, or when you are on other social platforms? There's a lot of information that is peddled or given to people. So as a result of that, a lot of people are affected by that information. I read a statement so powerful. The statement says, we are drowning in information, yet we are starving for practical wisdom. This guy says, let me repeat it. He says, we are drowning in information, yet we are starving for practical wisdom. There's a lot of information that we get per second, yet that information is not helping our wisdom in any way. When I read that, that's the enemy that we are battling with. Another problem that I have with a lot of information, there was a research that was done, the impact of a lot of information that we are given at a go. He says that as a result of reading all this information, we are developing a poor memory, a mental fog, and a lack of quality sleep as a result. And we are always mentally fatigued. Have you noticed that? As a result of all this information, our memories are poor, are becoming poorer than before. We are getting mental fog. There's no clarity in our thinking. There is a lack of quality sleep, and we are mentally fatigued. And there's also another statement that I want to read here. I wrote it down here. There you go. I will read it quickly. That we are fatigued as a result. Where is the statement? Okay, I'll find it. So as a result, that's what is meant by a digital deluge. A lot of information that we get from these social platforms and from the internet, yet we are not growing in any way. Yet our brains are always affected by this plethora of information that is peddled to us. Let me find this statement quickly. Yes, I found it. Here it is. It says, attention multitaskers. So as a result of this information coming from different areas, whether it's your text, whether it's your Facebook, whether it's your Twitter, whether it's your Instagram, you are normally multitasking. You are on Facebook, you are on Twitter, and you are just attending to all this information. So this guy says, attention multitaskers, if you can pay attention in this thing. He says, your brain may be in trouble. People who are regularly bombarded with several streams of electronic information do not pay attention. He says that they cannot control their memory or switch from one job to another, as well as those who prefer to complete one task at a time. So this thing is making us more unfocused, if I may say. So a lot of us are unfocused. We cannot focus on one thing because of digital deluge. And then the next slide that I want to enter, which is the next point, is digital distraction. Digital distraction. There was a research that was done in the US where they were checking our teens regarding this digital distraction. I know a lot of us are affected by this on WhatsApp as well. Now there is Telegram. I never knew that. I've never joined the Telegram as yet. Maybe I would, I don't know. So there was this thing that was said when they were doing this research. They discovered that teens at the age of 13 to 17, they text as much as 3,000, they make texts as many as 3,339 texts per month. And this is for guys only. And for girls, it's normally 4,000 texts a month. And as a result of these texts, normally you would get a dopamine. You know how you feel, Moss, when you hear that notification sound. Something you know in you, you just get that dopamine fix with, I wonder long for I wonder who's sending me a message. I wonder who is saying something to me. So there is that dopamine fix. You can't wait to see who is texting you. So as a result, you might be listening to me right now, and then you get that notification, you will be disturbed and you will be distracted. So that's what they mean. And they also discovered something. Do you know that this blue ticking, when you send someone a WhatsApp message and they blue tick you, do you know how frustrating that thing is? I read on the internet that when you are blue ticked, that thing is equivalent to driving a person insane. So when you blue tick someone, you are saying to them, I've seen your message and I'm not going to respond. So it affects them. It makes them, this person says, it drives people insane to blue tick someone. So I don't want you to get to that level of being driven insane when you are ignored. So when you feel like you are ignored, it normally kills your brain. And then it says, there's this study as well. that says, as a result of so much information and text that we receive, we normally get shorter attention spans. Do you know how short is an attention span of a human being in 2021? I don't know how many of you would know. Do you know how much is your attention span? How good is your attention? How good is your attention? How long is your attention span? Let me just ask it like that. Nelly, you don't need a rehab center. Don't worry. It's normal for now. I have switched off my notifications as a result. Yes, that's beautiful. And the blue ticks are so dangerous. It's very dangerous. 35 minutes. So your attention span, Kelvin, is 35 minutes. That's beautiful. Nearly 2 hours. Wow. Guys, do you know what is attention span? Attention span. It's relative. Okay, Jerry. 15 minutes, Cock. Okay. Tula, you say 1 hour. Not as long as I would like. Okay, Ntombi, I understand. It depends on whether I am presenting or not. Okay. It depends on what I'm doing. All right. Okay, it depends on what you are doing. I discovered something. In fact, I discovered this a long time ago, but my brain could not fathom or comprehend this. So there's a research that was done. They are saying that an average person, attention span yethu, they are saying that we are developing a short attention span, shorter than an attention span of a goldfish. A goldfish attention span, it's 9 seconds. A human being, it's 8 seconds. Do you know how I know? For those that are wearing watches, I want you to do this. I want you to look at your watch, the one that is responsible for seconds. I want to look at your seconds watch for 20 seconds without thinking of any other thing. Just concentrate on the watch, on that hand as it moves. So they are saying that your attention span as a result of digital distraction, it has become so short, 8 seconds. You are even beaten by a fish. A fish has 9, when now you have 8 seconds of the attention span. And I also discovered something when I was teaching my kids how to read. Do not read for more than 30 minutes to 35 minutes. Your attention span for focusing when you are studying, they are saying that the best that you can do is 30 minutes. Your brain still has the ability to grasp the information. Because of digital distraction, you normally multitask. It affects your brain. You cannot concentrate. I've been frustrated when I'm preaching or when someone is preaching, and I would see someone when they are now being bored, they normally go to their cell phone. So by so doing, you are teaching your brain not to focus anymore. So as a result, your attention span is depreciating. And this thing is so dangerous for kids. I also discovered that you should not give your children access to social media. This researcher was saying that the best age for a child to be on social media is after the age of 20, not anything below. She's saying that their brains are not yet fully developed to handle the pressure on the social media. Social media is so dangerous for kids, especially the youth. They are saying that in the US, a lot of youth or teens are going for a plastic surgery because the pressure that they see there, they cannot handle. And another thing that I want, okay, let me go to the next slide. So they are saying that kids, I've noticed this, like I told you yesterday, that I teach kids how to memorize. I have noticed that the attention span is terrible. Also teachers, when I engage with teachers, they will tell you that we are battling with the attention. So that thing came as a result of social media or watching television. It affects their ability to be attentive or to focus. And please do not make a mistake of thinking that when you command a child, concentrate, it's going to help. It's not going to help. You just have to take away his cell phone for a week or two. let your kids go and play. If they are teens, they no longer play. Just let them go to nature and see nature. This doctor was saying that it's gonna help with the attention span. The more time they spend in nature, better their brains would become. So the more they spend time indoors, it's gonna affect their memory, it's gonna affect their attention as well. There's another research on kids, toddlers. They are saying that for kids that have a shorter attention span, they put two kids, the one that has a longer attention span and the one that has a shorter attention span. So they divided them. They put one child on one room and the other one on the other room. So what they did is they traumatized these kids. They put a clown, the scariest clown, a clown before them. So the reaction, they were both scared by it. But what they discovered is the one that has a longer attention span was able to recover quicker than the other one. So social media is not only affecting that, but it's also affecting how your kids respond to things that are scary to them. I know a friend of mine, his child is so scared. Whenever she's going to bed, she would dream only nightmares. And they will pray, but she's in paper, and they will do all these things. And the only thing that they need to do is to remove the child from his social media, and it's going to help in the young one. Let me go to the last two, and then I go and close. I don't want to exhaust you. So the other one is digital dementia. So the first one was digital deluge, more information coming our way, and how we respond to that information, it depreciates the level of attention. The second one is digital distraction. The more text that we get is also distracting you from focusing, and it's depreciating your level of attention as well. So the third one is digital dementia. Digital dementia is what we touched on, Masala. Digital dementia is your cell phone making you dumber, like we said. Instead of you, how many of you are still good with directions? How many, okay, let me put it like this. How many of you depend on GPS when you are driving? I will listen. How many of you depend on GPS when you are driving? A lot of people do, ne? Always. Okay. I can't function without it, okay. Do you know that as a result of GPS usage, the more you use GPS usage, it makes you unable to memorize the roads like we do. You remember in the olden days, I know an old man that will give you direction from Soweto to KZN. He was so accurate. It's as if he's seeing the road in his head. The more we use GPS, we are going to lose our capacity to discern indlela and to understand indlela. A lot of us cannot even memorize roads anymore because we have taken that ability to memorize indlela. We are outsourcing that service to Iland. I appreciated one lady, Ukobi, when she's buying when she's buying groceries, she calculates groceries in her head. That's a very beautiful habit to have. So a lot of us cannot even do a simple calculation. I saw abazali balwa nabantwana when they were bringing back homework maths. Parents cannot think anymore. They are totally dependent on their cell phones. So today my advice to you is, before you can go to a cell phone for a solution, try to think of a solution before going to a cell phone. By so doing, you are helping your brain. At least try to retain what you have, a little part of your brain for now. You are going to appreciate your efforts. It's a little thing that you need to do, but you just need to go away from a cell phone gancane. So that's digital dementia. It's affecting our ability to memorize or to remember things. You remember in the olden days, we used to memorize our cell phone numbers. We had no cell phone numbers in Makanda. I mean, we had no cell phone numbers by then. We would remember the 011 numbers. And then we had a lot of those numbers in our heads. Let me ask you a question. How many numbers do you know by headache? How many numbers have you memorized? 1, Kelvin. Okay, that's good. So I'm saying that in case your cell phone switches off and you are in the middle of nowhere and you have to borrow a phone, how many numbers can you call from your head? Caleb says 3. That's good. Hopefully during the week, I think the day after tomorrow, I'll teach you how to memorize more numbers. Kobegele says 5, Kok says 5, Jerry says 3, Tula says 3, that's good. Hauhelo 4, that's nice. So these are the things that you need to do. Today, try to remember at least 4 or 5 numbers that you can call in case of emergency. Umpumi also says 5, Kamuhelo says 3, that's good, guys. That's good, I appreciate you. The numbers that I'm able to memorize, I think is plus minus 50 numbers that I have. And these are just random people. The reason why I do that is not because I have a lot of time. So the more numbers I've memorized, it enables my brain to have more capacity. So the more you memorize, the better I become in other aspects as well. So I think I've memorized more than 50. Okay, I have a group that I sing with. They have more than 40 people in that group. I know all their numbers by head. At Dubai, I've recently joined Idube Church. I know Ama numbers Abantu, I think about 10, if not 20 in that church. So the more I do this, I see, at first it was difficult. I couldn't even memorize 2 numbers. But the more I do this, I discovered that the capacity of your brain, the more you memorize, the better it becomes. So we can thrive. My promise to you is the day after tomorrow, if not tomorrow, we are going to learn how to memorize numbers. Easy. The thing I know we normally okay, let me quit that because of time. Let me go to my last slide and then we are done. The last one is digital deduction. So digital deduction is it's what we call the Google generation, where we are totally dependent on Google. Now a question. I know now, maybe saying I asked the question, how many of us are totally dependent on Google? How many of you are dependent on Google? So yonke into that you do, just Google it. I know parents, whenever a child comes with a homework, just Google it. Just Google it. So everyone, almost everyone, I am, that's me. So everything that you do, it's Google. Okay, partially Tula. Okay, that's good. There was also another research that was done where they would ask a bunch of students. I think the students were 50. So they divided these students. Or you also do YouTube and Google, that's nice. So what they did was they took these students by 50, 25, 25, they divided the classes. One class was told that when we ask you a question, you have no access to Google. You just have to think about the question and come up with the answers. We just want to see how you think. That was the one group. And then the other group, they told them just Google the answer. This is what they discovered. The first question, they asked the question and they did the task. What they discovered was this. The first question was a bit difficult and the first group tried to answer the question that was asked. They tried to answer, the answer was right, but not 100%, but it was correctly because they tried. So the more they thought about the question and the answer, their brains were at least doing something. They were engaged, for lack of a better word. But what they discovered with the second group, they discovered that there was no thought in it. So what they did was, the second question is much more easier than the first one. So they would ask things like, who's your mother? Or who was the first president of the country? Or when was Mandela out of prison? Something easier like that. So what they discovered was the first group was able to answer it and thought about it. The second group never even thought about it. They just Googled it and they took the answer like that. What they discovered with these two groups was the first one was able to come out better learners than the second group. So whenever you are Googling, it has been proven that you are not learning. You are just taking the information as it is. Have you noticed that Google has a lot of information that is not accurate? I know a lot of us will take information from Google and we will take it as if it's the actual truth, and we do not make our own research as a result. So whatever, today I saw something, practical example. I saw something circulating. These guys were saying all ShopRite shops are permanently closed. And then I took that information, I started circulating, which you see as a result of looting, all ShopRite shops are closed. I did not Google, someone sent me something like that, and I took it at face value. A lot of us, that's what's happening to us. We normally go to Google and we take whatever they give us and we think that's the actual information because our brains are now lazy to think. Let me just go to my last slide and then I'm done for the day. So here's the solution that you need to do. We all agree that social media is good, right? However, if we are constantly on social media, it's very detrimental to the mind. We are very forgetful. Our minds are not developing as a result of this thing. So my advice to the church, if you want to develop and prepare your brain for second coming, go on a digital fast. I'm not saying be an extremist like me and totally quit, but what you can do, you need to use social media as a tool, but when it starts to use you as a tool, you being the tool to it, then you should know that you have a problem. So just go on a digital fast for 2 weeks where there is no screen, unless if you have to work, then just do your work, but be off all social media platforms for 2 weeks. Try to see how your brain will be able to attend or will be able to improve the attention. You'll be able to focus more. You'll be able to be a good thinker. And on that 2 weeks, what I want you to do is, when you are digitally fasting, try to read God's word. Don't be a staunch reader or read the whole Bible. Just read one verse and think upon that verse. The whole day, just try to think. Whenever your brain will say, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Caesar.
All right, it says Lagemi, I'm muted. So Irokville Yonke, it's muted as a result. Now, if you can hear me, it's fine. So my solution was go on a digital fast.
We can hear you.
Covered that a lot of marriages, people are divorcing as a result of when you speak to your spouse, she's forever on the cell phone or he's on his cell phone. We are in the same room, but our minds and our focus is totally distant. So on your 2 weeks, maybe those that are married, just speak to your spouse that for 2 weeks, let's see if we can relate, me and you, and kindle our spark and our love. A lot of marriages, divorce could have been avoided if only we can spend time with each other. So start praying, go on a digital fast for 2 weeks and see how your brain would improve and you will appreciate things a bit more. There was another child that was interviewed. She was saying that last time I saw how my parents were reacting to each other, I had to deliberately spill something on my father's laptop. He was very cross with me, but I had to do it so that I can save my parents from divorcing. Kids no longer spend time with their parents because their parents are busy on social media. So guys, I also read something where they are saying that an average child of 6 years old would spend so much time before a screen, a TV, more time watching television than they would spend their time with their fathers. So they will spend more time on TVs than they would spend time with their fathers for their entire lifetime. That research, I think I'm missing. Okay, it says an average child of 6 years would spend its card with TV and would have more time watching television than they would spend with their fathers. So a lot of parents do not know what's going on with their kids because they are preoccupied with what's happening around, and the kids are being taught and raised by television. So guys, let's go on a digital fast for 2 weeks, especially this week, especially the last days of this week of prayer, and we see how our brains would develop. I think that's where my presentation will end for today. And over to you, Sis Nelly. If there are any questions, I'm ready. I hope everything was clear. Oh, now your homework start using your non-dominant hand from today. In fact, from now, use your non-dominant hand. I also want you to be observant. Whenever you wear something, if you are dressing yourself, I want you to notice which hand you put in first or which leg you put in first. So when you are so doing, you are actually saying to your brain, I want to focus on everything that I do. It's going to improve also your attention and focus. So when you are undressing, check which hand you remove first and which one you put in first. So I want you to be present in your task that you're doing. So the first task is start using your non-dominant hand. Your second task is I want you to notice when you are stripping or when you are wearing your clothes, which hand do you put first? Your focus will be so much better. I want to hear feedback from you, Xas, again. I thank you. Over to you, Nelly.
Thank you so much, Brother Sizwe.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, now I can. Yeah.
Okay. Ngithi Sizwe uJehova kubusise kakhulu. Church, it is quite clear ukuthi we have a lot of number one, unlearning to do, and we have a lot of learning to do as well. uJehova ngathi angasipha amandla. He writes to Isaiah 41, he says, so do not fear, I am with you. Do not be dismayed. For I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I'll uphold you with my righteous right hand. God is not giving us this information just so that we can figure things out on our own. God is there and he is going to assist us. If we can just be intentional and do what needs to be done. So I'm ready for my digital fast, and I'm ready.
There's a question here. I don't know what do we do, Mama. Questions. I see a question here.
Okay, so let me just address that. I have noted your questions, Sisimpumi. We have written all the questions down, and we are going to address all the questions on Sabbath afternoon. So please forward all the questions to me, Mrs. Gog or Gugumdliva, and then we are going to cluster all the questions so that Brother Sizwe can be able to answer all those questions Sabbath afternoon. Can I just request Uguti Elder Spego asivale ngomthandazo?
Thank you, Asithandazi. Baba tusezulwini impela ezinomhlaba, siyabonga namhlanje ukuvulwa amehlo. Sibonga Jehova isifundo sisitholayo sibonisayo ukuthi lezi zinto esicabanga ukuthi zisenza sibe abantu abahlakaniphile ziletha ubuduphunga kulokuhlakanipha. Ubuduphunga obenza nokuthi singalifunda izwi lakho. Ubuduphunga obenza nokuthi singasawabona amaqiniso okuphela kwesikhathi. Ubuduphunga bokungakwazi ukusebenzisa ingqondo osiphezona. Nobuduphunga bokucabanga ukuthi sihlakaniphile kanti siyiduphunga. Siyabonga Jehova ukusibonisa konke lokho. Siyacela baba ukuthi uma sithatha le ndlela entsha ezothi sisize ukuthi sibe abantu abangcono, wathi umoya ongcwele ungaqhubeka nokusigayida. futhi lokho sikufundisiwe Jehova sihlale kuko sinciphise isikhathi sokusebenzisa omakhalekhukhwini nezinto esicabanga ukuthi zisenza ukuthi sihlakaniphe kunalokho sisebenzise leso sikhathi ekutheni sisichithe nemindeni yethu sisichithe ezwini lakho sisichithe ekutheni sisebenzise amalungu omzimba osiphe wona ekutheni akhule adlondlobale beka isikhulumi sethu osiphe sona Jehova siyacela ukuthi usibusise qinise usimamise Jehova uphinde usigcine baba ukuba sihlangane futhi ngokuzayo singabaphilileyo siqhubeke nalesi sifundo esihle kangaka busisa Jehova abaphathi bohlelo nabo onjalo babandisele sicela konke lokho ngegama lakhe elingcwele libusa manje ukuze bengunaphakade amen
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mdala.
Amen. Jehovah.
Faka isandla efrijini Nelly asikuzwa.
Oh, yes. Am I audible now?
Uyapafara, faka isandla efrijini.
Okay. Ngiyazwakala manje.
Ngcono yebo mama, qalela phansi.
Okay, so we are meeting again same time at 6:30 tomorrow. We will continue to send our details, our login details in the platforms that we have been using. Jehovah anibusise nibeni nobusuku obuhle.
Amen.
thank you
Okay.
Thank you and good night.
Bye-bye.
Uthando luka Jesu lunami inhla yonke sandla sakhe esingcwele ngithwele nzima ngezinhlupho wahlala nami wangipha ingoma entsha